is Samuel Kisa. I am an architect, and I'm currently a director at Nautilla Architecture Design Limited, a design architectural consultancy based in Kampala. Nautilla was started in 2014. That's after we progressed, me and my colleague who started it, from another earlier practice where we were both practicing for at least 8 years. So then we formed Nautilla, and it's been a good ride since then. We've done a considerable amount of work. We've enjoyed what we do. Architecture is my passion. Buildings, being in a building, seeing a building come up, designing it, creating it, and then seeing it built, living the dream, enabling people to do that, to build. Someone said that the people who build houses are the bravest people on earth, because it takes passion, it takes effort to deliver a building, to put money in a project for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, until you see it realized. So I live for that. That's what I do. Currently, we have 6 people we are employing. It's an office of 6 people, and architects, some finance people, architects, technicians, but also we liaise then with a wider group of people, because delivering a building involves first myself as architect, and then a structural engineer comes in, and an electrical mechanical engineer, and a quantity surveyor, and then finally the builder and other people, interior designers, lighting consultants, sound consultants, depending on the scale of the building. 5 years from now, we will have an expansive built portfolio where we'll be able to show you and say, we've done this building, we've done the other building, we've done the other building. Big projects. Some of those projects are being built now. Some of them are still on the design drawing board. We see ourselves growing beyond the little group that we have now, to expanding in the size of the office, expanding to branch, launching out in the different cities, getting involved in work in Rwanda, in Kenya. Yeah.
Business Garage. Come on, the people in studio. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have just joined us, you are right on time. Share the link widely. Let your friends and family know we are about to bring you yet another session of rebuilding businesses, where we bring you kingdom businesses, Ugandan kingdom businesses. It excites me because I hope that through the months you've seen that God is up to something here in our nation, in our generation, and He's shifting the economy through His children here on earth. And today I'm very excited because I'm going to be interviewing someone that you probably, you know him another way. And today you're going to sort of get to know him in a new light as a businessman. But I want you to help me welcome Pastor Sam G. Kisa. Yeah. The director of Nautilla Architecture and Design. I'm going to first of all tell you a little bit about Sam before he tells you about himself. But did you know that Pastor Sam is the lead architect for this project of Worship Harvest Ministries? Yes, the building that you've been giving to all these years. The man is the lead architect, extremely excellent. He's also the pastor of Worship Harvest Entebbe, along with Pastor Ann Kisa. We send you love and greetings. So today is a really special day. I don't know what to call you. Architect Sam, pastor Sam, director Sam, assessor Sam in Harvest Institute. You are so many things, but welcome, Pastor Sam, to a session of Business Garage. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Apostle B3.
How does it feel being on this side?
Oh man, it's overwhelming. I'm humbled. I'm really humbled. When Musomba invited me and told me, you're coming, I thought he was playing a prank on me. I actually really honestly thought he was.
No, it wasn't a prank.
Yes.
We are really excited to have you. And so, greetings to the Worship Harvest Entebbe crew, wherever you're watching from. I know this is exciting, having your pastor here today. But why don't you tell us a little bit about your beginnings? We like to go back there, you know. What did you dream about becoming growing up? Where did you come from? What is your life before now?
Wow.
Yeah.
I grew up in Jinja.
Oh.
Grew up in not a small family, big family. I have over 20 siblings. So we all grew up in the same house.
Wow.
And when I was little, I wanted to be a journalist. That's what I wanted to be.
Why did you have so many things to report at home?
I mean, blame it on my dad's little sound solo and the BBC every day, all day. So I thought, man, if I can only get on the radio and be a journalist, my life will be made. Then when I got to senior 4, I had a conversation with my dad, senior 4 VAC. He sat me down and told me, you know what, we need a doctor in the family.
Oh, snap.
And you know, for the life of me...
Wait a minute, you said there were 20 siblings, right?
Yes.
There was no doctor.
No, there was no doctor.
Not yet.
So that's why we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
Like we must have a doctor in the family. And it will be important, you know. And of course I could see the importance. But there was a small problem.
Too many customers.
For the life of me, I couldn't get this thing called chemistry.
Oh no.
So he said, it's okay, I'll buy you the textbooks.
It wasn't the textbooks.
So, senior 4 VAC, I got organic chemistry, the textbook. The more I read it, the more confused I was. So, senior 5, Busoga College, Mary, my dad, he's a very influential person. He was in the school. The headmaster was his buddy. So, I go for biology class.
I just don't know why I'm
I
laughing.
attended one course. The first lecture, I still remember it. The structure of a cell. You know, week 1, day 1, we took notes in that biology lab. And I said, this place, am I going to handle? And I went to the career master and I told him, look, I don't want to do this thing. I want to do another course.
Oh.
And my reason really was, when you did biology, you couldn't do fine art.
Oh, yeah.
You do PCB, sub-math. And I said, I want to do art. And they said, well, this is serious. This one you have to call your parent. I was in that school for 6 years. The only time I ever stepped into the headmaster's office was when I said I want to change my combination. So the career master told me this one is for the headmaster. So I walked into the headmaster's office. The guy looked at me, said, you want to change your combination? Your father has to decide. Go get him. So I had to go back to Ginger, tell my dad, look, they've asked me to come for you. I don't want to do this PCB thing. That was one of the most difficult things I went through in my teenage years.
Yeah.
So we went back to the school, and there were the 3 of us, the headmaster, my dad, and myself. And I remember the headmaster saying something. He said, if that's what he wants to do, let him do. If he fails,
It's on him.
it's on him. So I ended up in the math class. It was like liberation.
You survived chemistry and biology.
I survived chemistry and biology, and I got to do fine art.
Wow.
That for me was like, it was freedom.
Yes.
So when I'll be leaving the dormitory and we get to the place where the path parts, because the biology labs were outside the quadrangle, kind of like, outside the camp. and then the rest of us, it was like over here in the math class. I loved those 2 years. And meanwhile,
Wow.
I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Like, so now you can do art, but what are you going to do if you can't do medicine and not journalism, clearly?
Yeah, now journalism was out of the window.
Yeah.
I was what one of the teachers said, a victim of passing exams. so I loved the art, I loved the economics.
Yeah.
I was always getting an A. I didn't know. I was like, what am I going to do?
Whoa.
Now, amazingly, when I was in senior 5, there was a guy, the one I was in senior 4, there was a guy in senior 6, and there was a guy in senior 5. Mm-hmm. A guy in senior 6 went, and when I was in senior 4, that was the first time like some guy in our school went to do something I'd never heard about at Makere. Architecture. Was called Shem Seboa.
We send you greetings.
Greetings, Shem. And so I was like, okay. Then the guy ahead of me, 1 year ahead of me, like in that school, you keep tabs on people. It's a big group, but you keep tabs on people. Hey, who has gone to Makerere?
Yeah.
Who has been admitted for what? Because we were not like, Gayaza, Namagunga, where the whole class
goes to Makerere.
to do medicine.
Yeah. Namagunga and Gayaza, we send you greetings. Victims of passing exams. Wow.
So there was another guy. He was 1 year ahead of me. I was in senior 5. So when I applied for this, I changed from PCM to PEM art.
Oh.
There was a guy ahead of me who was doing PEM art. And he goes to do this course, architecture. Again. That guy is Apostle Mose.
Hey! Apostle Mose, we send you greetings.
So, I just joined the fellowship around that time, and of course, he was a drummer.
Wow. We remember that drum
another kind
story.
of drum.
The other ones.
This guy has gone to do this course. That's the first time I heard about architecture.
Wow.
I didn't know anything about it. And even what I thought I knew, because they said you have to get an A in math.
Yeah.
And then you need physics. So I thought, this is about calculations, what? So I was like, what? So I got my A in math.
So you went to do architecture to be a mathematician?
Yes.
If people look, you can stumble into your destiny.
And by the way, I was not alone.
No.
So you get into that class, and everybody comes with an A in math.
Yes.
By the time you get to fifth year, after 5 years of the course, when you ask someone, what's 17 times 24?
They can't calculate it.
Basically, they educate all the math out of you.
Having required you to have an A in
Yes.
math. I wonder, why? Architects.
I don't know. So like in my... So I go to Makere, and that's the story. That's how I ended up being an architect.
Oh my, I guess guys were waiting for some. You remember like the time we had the guy who talked about his mother bought him a chicken. Do you understand?
Yes.
That's why he loved Mr. Kavugo. He loved chickens. Everywhere he lived, he had chickens. That's why he has a chicken farm. And he's going to be the biggest chicken farmer in. Here you are. I hope you already encourage encourage those of you watching that, you know what, you can stumble into your destiny. Because, okay, so you get into this architecture world. What makes you fall in love with architecture? And then tell us a little bit about now the beginnings of business. Because were you a business-minded person? Do you come from a family of 20-something business people? I mean, we are really trying to calculate where all these children are. So how do you end up loving architecture? Because now when you talk about it, you're really passionate about this thing. Even, you know, earlier on when you were talking, you're saying such deep things about buildings and architecture. And then business. So you go to university, you study architecture.
So I get there first year, architecture. Drawing.
Yeah.
Coloring. The gentleman, the professor, greetings, Professor Nawangwe. He's a vice chancellor. He was our head of department. He was a teacher there. Lines, first lesson, draw lines. Draw lines. Write the alphabet. Write the alphabet.
I'm sorry?
Yes. My God.
Meanwhile, this is the class of the top students in the nation.
Yeah.
I'm told it's a very tiny class.
So it was a class of 18 people?
I send you greetings, those who did social sciences. I think you can't imagine a class of 18 people. We used to be 2,000 on a normal day when others haven't come. 18. And you are doing alphabet.
Yeah. Paint,
it is an enigma.
Mat, draw a straight line. I remember this one day when I was about to give up.
Why?
Year one.
You are giving up on drawing lines and alphabet.
We were doing what they call stick models. So you just get sticks, and the assignment is do something, basically build something.
With sticks.
With sticks, like matchbox, like matchsticks or something, toothpicks. Join with glue and create some form, you know? This was way before the internet. So like right now, you could just go and Google and download something and copy it. But it had to come from your mind. And our lecturer, the professor, came in the evening. Came in the morning, issued the assignment. So at about 5, he walks in, looks at my thing and says, why don't you just start over?
No! It's now evening.
Yes. That was a time when I was on the edge. I was like, no, maybe I'm not able to do this thing.
Yeah.
And remember, some people had left. I remember some of our friends joined other courses. Timo Sevalamu,
hey,
I carried the desk for, up to this I tell him, Timo Sevalamu, I carried a desk for you from the second floor down to our studio.
And you quit
and
on
then
me.
You quit on me, you joined electrical engineering. So,
wow.
By the time you finish year one, you're like, okay, I think I can do this thing. I think I'm getting a hang of it. There's no calculations now. If I just really become an artist, I can do it. So that's how I end up in architecture. My background, my family background, my dad's a businessman, but he's not like involved the family businessman, involved the children. My dad has run a restaurant or restaurants and bars for a long time. We grew up with that. So I didn't know anything about business. And you spend 5 years in architecture school,
yeah.
And there is no lesson. There is one lesson in year 5 about running a practice, but even that is not about business, the business side. That nobody teaches you how to charge fees.
Yes.
How to write a fee note. How to collect fees when someone has failed to pay.
Oh.
All we teach you, and now I'm a teacher, so
you are a lecturer as well.
Yes.
At the university, yeah.
But all they teach you is that drawing perfect.
Yeah.
Can someone look at it and get goosebumps? You know, like, that's such a beautiful pencil drawing. Wow. So that's, unfortunately, that's, so when I left school, the first place I thought about getting a job was my head of department's office, because I have this passion for teaching.
Yes.
It's been there since I was little, since I was really, really little. So I went to him and said, I'd like to teach. And I remember he just laughed and said, well, we're not recruiting anyone right now. And so I went and found work elsewhere. So starting out, it was like really learning on the job about every side, everything on the business side of things. How to charge fees, which are the right fees. And at the beginning, because of that ignorance, a lot of people take advantage.
Of course.
So you're too eager to do work, thinking, if I really do a nice design, this person will eventually get to the point of, by the how much?
That you think that they'll appreciate the work so much and, you know, ask to pay you whatever you want.
Yeah, and I ended up doing a lot of work like that, not paid.
Oh.
Yes, so it's a tough learning curve for people who, especially people who are doing technical courses, engineering, architecture, where they don't really teach you those skills.
And yet you spend so much time in school and excellence and whatever. So where does now Nautilla come in? Tell us the story of Nautilla. Where? Sounds like Nautilla.
Okay, Nautilla.
Yummy. Nautilla.
Nadi. So Nautilla begins in 2014. I left school in 2002. Yes. So I've been at this thing a little while.
Indeed, it's a little while. That is an adult child, just to put it out there.
Yes. So I've done all sorts of iterations of architecture practice. So when I left school, I first, like I told you, I wanted to study. I wanted to teach.
Yes.
If you could pay me to be a student, lifelong student, that's something that I would have done.
Wow.
So a year within finishing, I was invited back at Makerere, come and teach, because there is this master's degree, and the condition is that you teach, so come. So I went and did the course. That's another 2 years. Then I came back after that and got employment at one of the big farms, the biggest farm in town, actually. It's called Symbion. And that was a fun place. But that was, I don't know, now I look back, it was a fun place. It's a place of systems before I learned about systems.
Yeah.
That place, I'm not surprised that they've grown as big. As you think about all the big buildings in this city, all the prominent buildings, the Serena, Crested Towers, all of those.
Wow.
Serena Chigo, Serena wherever, they've done all of those. And they were really, really, really systemized.
Yes.
Like you had to do everything there's a system for everything.
Yes.
You don't just show up and say, I need a pencil. Give me an extra pencil there, because, like, fill out the form properly. There's a pencil. There's a system for everything.
Wow.
So they were really, really professional.
Wow.
So I really owe what a little bit I've learned about structure and systems in architecture to the training I got from that architecture firm. So after 2 years, I got together with 3 of my classmates. They said, let's start. And so we started another farm. It was called Fusion.
Yes.
And that went on for about 8 years, It was good, but because of the lack of mentorship, again, we were 4 guys who were passionate, but we didn't really have systems and discipline to keep us going. So after 8 years, a time came to fold that. And so then Nautilla came out of that.
Wow.
Myself and one of my colleagues who were with earlier, architect Ivan, we decided to start this thing and start afresh. So that's been 5 years, close to 6 years now of that journey. Yes.
Wow. So 5 to 6 years of Nautilla. Tell us some of the highlights of that journey. When you began, it's just the two of you, I imagine.
Yes.
Where are you now? How many? I'm very curious about how, like, around how many clients have you helped on this journey of many years?
So I would say maybe since I left school, maybe over 200 clients or
For sure.
300.
Yes.
I don't know.
Wow.
I've done a lot of work. The very first, I'll tell you the story of the very first client. I would
Please.
say the client who paid me.
Yes. The rest of y'all, no.
So I was on it's strange. I was in Molago on the operating table. I met a doctor, ophthalmologist. I always wear specs. So I went to see this ophthalmologist and he said, I can do a procedure on your eye to help you. So we go to Molago to do the procedure. The gentleman, so while I'm waiting, I hear him having a conversation with 3 other guys. Like, they're all around me, I'm lying on the table. Architect tugenda mujja wa.
Wow. Talk about opportunity.
So
You're lying down, opportunities flowing.
So I said, hey, doctor, I'm an architect. And he's like,
You better not mess up
Wow.
my eyes. Yeah.
And so the guy says, oh, we want to do an apartment building. And that was the very first apartment building
Wow.
I designed way back. 2002, I think it was 2003, when I just left school.
Yeah.
And I remember I was on my way to Addis for that master's degree. And the guy called me and handed me, I think, 3 million shillings.
Ooh.
In cash. I was driving. I was being taken to the airport that morning. I had nowhere to take the money. I went with it
You went with it to Addis.
because I was like on my way. He called me. I mean, one day I'm on my way to the airport. I remember going to Addis, putting it at the safe deposit at the hotel.
Yeah.
And the guy at the hotel laughed.
Why?
Because he said, you know, in Addis, the denominations were much smaller, like kind of Kenyan money. So if you have $1 million, that's like a lot of money. So he
You
said,
had 3
so he
million.
counted and said, I have never met a millionaire.
Oh, guys, no. Oh, no.
So that was my very first client.
He turned you into a millionaire.
Yeah.
I'm sure that guy went and told his friends. Wow. So you start with this client. What does it look like right now? And then, you know, on top of telling us what it looks like in terms of numbers, if you could also tell us, I asked you earlier, what's this thing about, why are you passionate about architecture right now and buildings? Why? What do you see in them? Yeah, what do you see is the value? What is it about what you do?
So, buildings, they just excite me.
Yeah.
And the people behind the buildings.
Yeah.
Because every building is a story of someone's invested years. So, like right now in Kampala, they are breaking buildings, lots of buildings, which is the right thing because, you know, a time comes and the buildings done in 1940 get broken. Some of them, not all of them, but a time will come and the houses we're building, we will tear down and other bigger things will come.
Wow.
But that's like years invested in them.
Yes.
People, think about your typical house, which costs 200, 300, 400 million. That's a lot of money. You can save that money for 20 years, 10 years. So I love buildings, the whole process of the building. Buildings, like when I get into a space, sometimes you get into a lovely space and you just get goosebumps and you're like, wow, this is nice. A guy called Louis Kahn said, architecture is all about silence and light.
Oh.
Silence and light. And he said, God bless the day that the wall parted and the column became.
Oh.
And he said, the light didn't know what it was until it struck a wall.
Wow.
So when you're going to a beautiful place, I don't know, you guys, if you've been to some really special places,
yeah,
where you walk in and you're silenced,
yeah,
and you hear, you want to touch the wall, like if it's you imagine a brick wall and you just want to run your fingers along it, or as you walk on a stone pebbles and you hear the sound.
You really love buildings,
that stuff
man.
excites me. So I like the process of building. I love the fact that I can see people come alive when they see the thing they're doing, like the thing they've dreamt about. When they say, this is what we want to do. We want our daughter's room to be this way.
Yes.
And then
yeah,
the kitchen. I want all these pull-out cabinets,
yes.
And I want a place where I can cook and be talking to my friends, and you bring that dream alive for them.
Yes.
And you show them possibilities of what it can be done. I always tell people, if you're going to make a saving in construction, don't save it with the architect. Don't Don't be like, you know what? I think if we have to save 5 million on architect, you're going to, that's not a place to save, because the architect can save you 400 million.
Yes.
So there was this project, some place in a town in Uganda which begins with one letter of the alphabet. The client didn't think it was worth engaging me at the construction supervision. I designed. And so I say, okay. They go build, and then when we get to do the first floor, she says, get me another builder, because we're going to do the first floor. No, she said, we want to make the building storied. So we redesign to make it storied, go get an engineer to design the columns, the structure, so we can raise it. We send a builder, because at that moment she came to me after like a year and a half. And she said, get me a builder. When the builder goes there, he says, but this building is inverted.
Huh?
And I say, what? And she says, what? Your builder is confused. And I'm like, so I could talk to the builder and says, yeah, the building is inverted. Like, this is supposed to be the front, but now the front is facing the back. So the front was designed to open out into a nice garden and all, but now that's the back. So
no.
I didn't believe it.
Oh no.
True story. So at that moment, she said, okay, I'm willing to pay you to go and see the thing. So I went, and it's true.
It was inverted.
It was true. Yeah, it was inverted, like
front
180
back,
years. So we had to first, instead of adding on to it, we had to first tear all of it down. And from that moment, I didn't need to call. She would be the one to call.
Yes, of course.
And say, please come to the site. Please, it's time to come. So I say, don't try to save on the architect or the engineers. You're going to, they're able to make bigger savings for you.
Wow.
So,
can you help me appreciate Pastor Sam Kisa? I still had many questions for you. This was such a fun, beautiful, just interview. And right now, I'd like you to help me welcome the man who inspired the man to go and do architecture, who thought he was doing mathematics. Apostle Mose.
Well, I'm hearing that story for the first time. I'm glad to have played some small role in the process. Wow, Sam. You brought back memories. Designing for free. Wow. Thinking that they will bring, anyway, interesting stuff. I was just reminded that when I went to Makerere.
You went to Makerere.
I went to Makerere. My architecture class was about, ours actually was the biggest. We started out 28. And it was quickly whittled down to about 20 after a couple of terms.
Wow.
By people leaving, departure. If you did architecture, it was marriage.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, there was no time for what.
Architects are committed people.
Yeah. But I remember walking into that class and 4 guys were in the top 10 in the country in sciences, and I happened to be one of them miraculously. Yes. And 2 guys were in the top 10 in arts.
Wow.
So we had 6 people in our class from the top 10 in the country. There was Jesse Musamba, Umal Matovu, Pasco Kabandize, Gordon Begumisa, Hilary Mugarura, and then myself. And I was like, what am I doing here? You know, it was a complete miracle. But just to tell you that the people who used to go and do architecture those days, and I don't know what happens these days, were like the brainiest guys available. But like he was saying, they teach you all these technical things. We really loved Professor Nawange. Yeah, he was like a father in the department. You know, everyone related with him like a dad of sorts. When he came to class, he would crack jokes. We would laugh so hard. But he would teach those basics, the things, line, drawing, writing. You're like, wow.
Yeah.
I walloped mathematics to come and do this. But then, like I was saying, the sad thing is that you would get out and you would know the technical things, but you knew not how to run the business, the practice. And that's why I'm grateful we had this session today, because I realized that we had been talking about a lot of different businesses, but we hadn't talked about these sort of professional technical businesses. Yeah, you know, you set up a clinic, you're a doctor, you know how to treat the sickness, but do you know how to run the business? You know how to design the buildings, but do you know how to run the business? And so when you get into this kind of business world, you're making a lot of assumptions, mistakes, hopes, and that was my life. I did architecture for many years and was broke all my architecture years. Yeah, I don't remember having a financial breakthrough.
Was it for lack of work?
No. It wasn't for lack of work. Architecture is a hard work. It's intensive. Yeah, it's. If you don't know how to set up systems, like he was talking about Symbion, you can work through the night. There is a gentleman called Stuart Sebombo. I send him greetings, and his wife Liz. But I remember when I was doing my project, 5th year, because we designed, you had to do a real design for your 5th year, and then you also had to write a dissertation. So you did both a dissertation and a design project. My design project was for a church building on Prayer Mountain. I had these grandiose ideas, light coming in from where the wall, partying, what?
Hey!
My friend, but the day for the presentation was coming fast and furious. I remember that I went to class. We used to go early and leave very late, towards midnight. And the last day before the presentation, I went to class in the morning. I worked through the day. I worked almost through the night, went and had a nap, came back, worked through the day, then worked through the night. A gentleman, one of his earlier partners, Michael Ugaiz, came and spent the night with me, helping me with 3Ds. Nowadays we do on computer. Those days you had to draw it. Can you imagine drawing a 3-dimensional drawing? Yeah, the perspectives. You have to draw them with lines and real draw what the building is going to look like. And then do a model, a physical model. Through the night for the presentation that morning, there's a joke that there was one guy who was doing architecture in Lumumba Hall.
Oh dear.
So he worked through the day. The sun came and went. Then the sun came and went. And then on the third day, his pencil fell behind the bed.
I thought he was in the...
No, so when he went under the bed to get his pencil,
He didn't come back.
he slept off.
Oh no.
And didn't recover. Anyway, I don't know whether it's a true story. But just to say, you know, you can run a hustle out there. Super real hustle. You are technical, you're intelligent, you know how things work. I mean, you passed physics, mathematics, you did art. But the finances.
Yeah.
So I find that to be a problem with a lot of the more technical side of businesses.
Yes.
So yeah, that was my takeout as well from architect Sam Kisa's, and he's very brilliant.
Extremely.
Up to today, people contact me for work. I just pass them.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And because you focus on the work,
Yeah.
the work is always growing.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's always there.
And by the time you look at the money, you can not have the money because you all the time, all the attention and what you love is the work.
Yes.
So you tend to think, if I only do the work, the money will take care of itself. And it never really works out.
Does that work?
No. Yeah.
The money doesn't take care of itself.
No.
You just work longer hours. It's weekends, Sundays, the whole time you're designing. And this is not actually limited to only architecture. There are other people in the arts world. There are some people.
Lawyers. Wow.
Yeah, they walk around with their laptops.
Yeah.
You're working the whole time. But how do you break that cycle and start building a business?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. So, Pastor Sam, I think that's the question right there that Apostle has asked. So, what are some of the key things that have helped you build a business that is actually growing?
Yeah, so one of the things is just applying the lessons that we've learned here at Worship Harvest. Straightforward financial growth.
Yeah.
Save a percentage of what you earn, and that we applied in the business.
Yes.
That's something that we hadn't applied for a long time, and then we began applying it. Get people to help,
Yes.
accountants, people who can handle the business side,
Yeah.
and you also pay attention to it.
Yes.
So sit down and say, okay, this job, what is it really worth? Because from our background, that's not a conversation we would have. You pull figures from the air.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this, let's charge this much. Let's charge this much. And because you're not really like importing things like raw materials,
Yes.
you can cheat yourself without realizing that this is the actual cost of this job. The rent, the staff we are paying, the meals, the utilities, and then the time, yes. Yeah, so that's those are some of the things that we've
Plus
like
hiring competent people.
Yes.
Because one of the problems technical businesses have is that you know your thing so well, to hire another person to help you with the design, you're thinking, they will not get it. And so you get stuck. But hiring other people and training them and trusting them. But also the problem is people want to get the cheapest available labor for. So you hire a guy, but he can't do a straight line. And so it doesn't work. So, but hiring people, paying them, and then starting to multiply yourself, doing the symbiont thing, setting up systems where the design gets done and it's not the leader of the business that is involved in the technical stuff. Yeah.
Wow. Why don't you help me appreciate Pastor Sam Kisa? Wow. And the Nautilla business. And listen to me. I hope that this has been very helpful for you. That you realize, especially for those of you doing something more professional, that you can grow. You don't need to be necessarily maybe manufacturing. You can grow with the thing that you went to school and studied. It can become a source of joy, of employment and economic empowerment, even in this nation.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to share your comments below and subscribe to our channel for more exciting videos coming up soon.